It's about time, man, because I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get the kingdom. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to breathe fresh. I'm ready to have beautiful, pure women. Okay, not no strawberry harlots on this side. Ready to have children, man. You can vibe with. Okay, be around brothers. Be around the Lord Himself. Okay, I'm ready to go and visit places in the galaxy that we didn't know exist. All right, I'm ready to walk on sandy beaches, man, and explore the ocean floors. I'm ready to fly. Okay, I'm ready to eat real food. Okay, I'm ready to drive a chariot, man. All right, I'm ready to minister to the Lord and to be ministered to, man. Okay, I'm ready to worship Yahweh Shem Yahushua in its full entirety. Okay, I'm ready for it. We're ready. We're ready. We're ready. We're ready, man. I'm ready to see angels and greet angels.
Isaiah 14. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them, and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve.
The Lord said that on the Heavenly Father's right hand there are pleasures evermore. And it says that I have not seen, neither ear heard the things that the Lord hath prepared for them that wait for Him. You know, there's a whole nother world of greatness that awaits us when the kingdom of heaven is established. It's not seen in this society. In this society, we only see carnal things that reason offers in this society. But when the kingdom is established, the Lord is going to open us up to a whole nother world, you know, of pleasure, of knowledge, of wisdom, understanding, you know, it can't even be put into words, you know, because our imagination only goes but so far.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love Him. But God hath revealed them unto us by His Spirit.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his young brothers. And peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scripture through faith in Yahweh Bashem Shah. All right, and what I want to get into today, you're dealing with another morning news and prophecy. All right, and it's going to have the power to do miracles. Okay, because the devil, you know, with his technology, you know, and mainly, you know, with his AI. All right, he has, you know, the masses and all. Okay, and I have a video I want to go into, you know, to show that. And AI and the promise of AI and its capabilities is going to herd a lot of people into this new world order. You know, a lot of people are going to be, you know, in awe, you know, at the promise of the future that AI, you know, is going to provide. Okay, and they're going to look at this new world order, you know, as another form of being liberated. You know, another level of convenience. You know, another level of, you know, humans going beyond. All right, well, you're going to get that word miracle in Revelation 13. Okay, and it goes into that, you know, to transcend beyond, you know, the natural order. Okay, so this devil, you know, has mastered, you know, how to package, you know, captivity, okay, and slavery and oppression in the form of life and abundance. Okay, he has mastered how to do that. Okay, and the masses, you know, always, you know, take the bait. Okay, so let's go here because we have to understand what the devil is doing. This is a major rebellion against Yahweh Bashim al Shah that we're witnessing from Esau Edom. This is not a light thing by far. What the devil is trying to pull off, what he's doing real time, and what he plans on doing. This is not a light thing. Okay, this is a serious offense, and we're going to get into these things now. The one thing about the scriptures, it gives us the mind, okay, of Esau Edom. It let us know the inner workings of how the devil think, how he's built, how he made, how he reasons. Okay, so when you go to Isaiah 14:3, it says, "For thou hast said in thine heart, which is thy mind." So the scriptures give us, all right, the rundown of how this devil thinks, how he operates, how he reasons. Okay, and it's very wicked and it's very rebellious. Okay, it said, "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven." Okay, and this man's technology has reached into the heavens, which is the atmosphere. Okay, to where this man is able to track. Okay, he's able to push propaganda all through what? Through the satellite. Okay, he has weaponry up there. Okay, so this man's jurisdiction has reached to the Shemayim, to the atmosphere. Okay, he's ascended to the atmosphere. Okay, fighter jets. Okay, I was saying that all this technology, he controls the earth from the Shemayim, basically, man. Okay, through his technology. All right, the satellites, man. You see, and it says, "I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north." Okay, and this devil thinks that he's going to establish his rulership over Israel forever. He thinks that he's going to establish his rulership, and it's going to be equivalent to the throne of the Most High. Okay, that's why you read verse 2. It says, "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." Okay, you see, he thinks that he's going to possess the Lord's people, the congregation, forever. And he thinks that through his technology, he's going to be like the Most High. This man is manually trying to make himself as if he's the Most High, man. He wants to control spirits. Now, see, with the elites, is way bigger than money. With this technology, they want to tap into immortality for them and more control for the masses, over the masses, man. Okay, this man is trying to manually make himself the Most High in the earth, man, through left hand technology and left hand witchcraft, man. Okay, go here. You see, this devil has a real rebellious spirit, man, and then following this man puts you in rebellion against Yahweh Bashim al Shah. Okay, let's go here to Job 21. Okay, and 13 is that Job 21-13 says they spend their days in wealth and in the moment go down to the grave. Okay, they spend their days in wealth and in a moment go down to the grave. So this is what these devils are trying to overcome, because they spend their days in all this wealth, super billionaires, trillionaires, but in the moment they go down to the grave. You see, they can't overcome death. You see, and this is what this man is trying to overcome with his technology, man. Okay, he's trying to force, okay, the birthright blessing. See, because the blessing of the birthright came with immortality. What Jacob, received from Isaac. All right, Jacob's blessing came with immortality. Esau's didn't. That's why he's in his blessing, the fatness of the earth. He's ruling with the sword, but he doesn't have immortality because his blessing didn't come with immortality, man. Okay, and this is what he's trying to tap into on the left hand side, because he can't stop himself from going down to the grave. No matter how much wealth, how much technology, how much science he goes into, how much study of the body and cells and DNA, he cannot stop himself from going to the grave. Okay, the Rothschilds, they subjugated, okay, to the grave. You see. So what we're seeing with these devils, they're trying to get beyond, okay, death, man. All right, but that's not in their blessing, you know, and they'll never be able to tap into it. But it's prophesied that he will try. Okay, verse 14. Therefore they say unto the Most High, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. And that's the main reason that this devil, all right, will never be able to tap into immortality, because he has a rebellious spirit towards Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. All right, as we went into yesterday, what is linked with immortality, man? Okay, if a brother could real quick put that precept, Wisdom of Solomon 1:15. I don't know how many brothers on. All right, well, if a brother in a position to do that, which I might can grab it real quick. Okay, well, this devil is complete wicked. All right, he's complete. All right, he's the personification of wickedness, man. He's the embodiment of wickedness. Okay, and that's why everything is in self-destruct mode. He doesn't possess the wisdom of righteousness, all right, to tap into immortality, man. And it's not his blessing anyway. So even if he did try to be righteous, it's still not his blessing. That blessing of immortality is only okay for the nation of Israel. Okay, let me get it. Yep, the water, brother. Yep, this is GMS Benin Yahweh. It says, for righteousness is immortal. Okay, and Esau Edom is not righteous. Okay, he's not built. It's not in him to be righteous. Okay, that's reserved for Israel to be fully righteous, to be perfected in righteousness, man. And this is what we're fighting to be, perfect in righteousness. And it's going to be when we're changed under the new covenant, when Yahweh Shai comes, and that's going to open us up to immortality, man. Okay, well, this devil thinks that he can operate in wickedness and become immortal, as if he has found some pathway to immortality, all right, by his own means, man. And this is what this devil is obsessed with, man. Okay, and we're going to see that in his technology, man. And he presents, this technology as a enhancement of life. As if he's doing the masses a favor. This devil knows how to present his wickedness as if he's doing the masses a favor, man. Okay, it said, what is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him? Okay, and this man wants to cut the Most High, his son Yahweh Shai, and the true people out the equation. Okay, this is what this devil is doing. He wants to cut, the Most High, and he wants to undermine the Most High, his son Yahweh Shai, and the true Israelites out the equation, man. Okay, to where he's just the sole authority over existence, man. Okay, that's why people, this society doesn't look to the Most High in crisis. They look to Esau Edom and his science and his technology, man. Okay, it says, lo, their good is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me, man. So what these devils are doing is far from, all right, the righteousness of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. That's why they're going to be judged. Right, read the next verse, verse 17. How oft is the candle of the wicked put out? And how oft cometh their destruction upon them? The Most High distributed sorrows in his anger. Okay, and that's going to be the missiles and Yahweh Shai and the chariots, man. Okay, it said they are as stubble before the wind and as chaff that the storm carried away, man. Okay, so the Lord is going to turn this man's kingdom into powder. Okay, with the judgment of fire, man, through the nukes and the chariot, everything that this man has built up, these labs, okay, these underground bunkers, all these things are going to be destroyed. Okay, all his, data that he's gathered, through his technology, all these things are going to be destroyed, all right, in this destruction, man, in this judgment, man. Okay, and before it's all said and done, there won't be a trace of Esau's wickedness in the earth. That's why that 1,000 years is going to be those 1,000 years of correction. That's why it's going to be, all right, with a rod of iron ruling these nations, man. It's going to be the 1,000 years of correction, man. Okay, it won't be a trace of Edomite wickedness in the earth, man. It won't be an Edomite or a trace of their wickedness in the earth. Okay, so let's go here. Let's get to the video. all right, and just see what these devils, are doing. All right, what they on now. All right, the scripture command us to what to watch. All right, and this is the latest gimmick, okay, from these devils, man. All right, so we're gonna watch this, because this man is presenting AI, okay, as a savior. This is how he's gonna present AI, to the people, as a miracle. Okay, and there's some heavy left hand going on with the AI. Okay, now, brother, we use, a lot of times you Google AI overview, it goes into more depth. Chat GPT goes into, more depth than Google. Okay, but we don't want to make these things a crutch. We use these things as a resource because we got many resources now to study. But ultimately, it's the spirit that's overseeing everything, and that's why we're able to identify when Chat GPT and Google go off on particular things. Okay, because we're being guided by the spirit. Okay, but as people are fully engulfed into, AI, in the Chat GPT. Okay, they're pretty much becoming servants to the AI, to the technology, man. Okay, let's play this. Matter of fact, I got another. I'll play it at the end. But let's get this real quick. Let's play this.
This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. An Arizona victim of road rage who was killed in a road rage incident showed up in court through artificial intelligence to confront the person responsible for killing him. And this is the new normal that we're living in. We live in a world where the majority of people don't even know or understand what AI actually is. The government is speeding up propaganda. They're speeding up just the amount of overwhelming nonsense that they're feeding us on a day in, day out basis that people's brains can't even keep up with the amount of stuff that they're releasing when it comes to technology. And for anybody out there that's wondering, you should be paying attention to all of this stuff you're seeing with AI and summoning demons, because the creators of artificial intelligence don't deny that AI is literally summoning the demon, as most of you have heard many times over on this channel. And I'll play for you again. Even Elon Musk admitted that artificial intelligence is, in fact, summoning the demon.
Era is the IT painkiller. Remote monitoring and management, remote access, help desk ticketing.
With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon. Didn't work out. With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
And if you hear most churches actually talk about these types of topics, mainly because a lot of the churches now, if you pay attention to them, are actually reading sermons off of artificial intelligence apps that they have on their actual phones. You can't make it up. But in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 31, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. The Bible talks about mediums. It talks about practitioners. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 27, a man also or woman that hath a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones. Their blood shall be upon them. Exodus chapter 22, verse 18, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. These aren't verses you're going to hear ever mentioned in a cookie cutter sermon that's taking place at a local church. They're not going to read Isaiah chapter 18, verses 19 through 20. And when they say to you, seek those who are the mediums and wizards who whisper and mutter, should not a people seek their God? Should they seek the dead on behalf of the living? To the law and to the testimony, if they do not speak according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. We are seeing the normalization of a lot of these things spiritually that people don't realize are actually being done spiritually. I've talked about the digital realm. They even call the digital realm the spiritual realm sometimes. They have slip of the tongues, as they say here and there, where we hear these big tech companies talk about how we need to move into the digital realm. We're all moving to the digital realm, the meta realm, the metaverse. And there's
And this devil, think that he can duplicate the spiritual world, all right, through technology, through the digital world, and he thinks that he can summon up these demons, all right, and have the demons, subjugated to his digital, realm. All right. So this man is trying to duplicate the spiritual realm and his with technology, man, with this whole thing of going digital. Okay. This devil is up to major rebellion, man. Okay, and he's trying to manually make himself the most high. It's way bigger than money. All right. The elites are on to something else. They have the bag secured. That's been secured centuries ago. All the wealth flows to them. Okay, it's about power. All right, it's about trying to tap into immortality. Okay, it's trying to outdo and outthink the Most High. This man has a hell of a task, all right, that he's been tasked with, as we say often. Okay.
Speaking of the spiritual realm, the physical realm that we're in, and the spiritual realm, which is being cloaked as the digital realm. Even recently, Chat GPT suddenly is starting to speak in demonic voices to people out there that are asking it questions. And that's, of course, because they're not speaking with familiar spirits. They're not speaking with their dead grandma, who they may be asking for a recipe for their broccoli casserole and saying, Grandma, could you send me down messages and send me down love? You're not supposed to be communicating with the dead, but they've normalized this. We see a lot of television shows that have normalized this over the years. In fact, we all know that New Age Christianity has brought this to the forefront, where they actually condone this. They actually tell people out there to communicate with their dead mother or their dead sister, to bring crystals and altars into their home. These people don't have the slightest clue. And the Bible warns about this. So this man, back to the story, who was shot, spoke via AI in a courtroom. You can't make it up.
Now to this story, the first of its kind for artificial intelligence. A Valley man killed during a road rage incident speaks in court from beyond the grave.
Yeah, it happened during the victim impact statements directed at the killer. Fox 10's Nicole Christine has the details tonight.
To Gabriel Horcasitas, the man who shot me. It is a shame we encountered each other that day in those circumstances.
Chris Pelkey's voice and likeness ringing out in a courtroom 3.5 years after his death. But how? We'll let Chris tell you.
I am a version of Chris Pelkey recreated through AI that uses my picture and my voice profile.
The artificial intelligence generated video, an idea that initially came to Chris's big sister Stacy as she collected victim impact statements and prepared her own.
We received 49 letters that the judge was able to read before walking into sentencing that day. But there was one missing piece. There was one voice that was not in those letters.
So Stacy turned to her husband, Tim, and their friend, Scott Yenser, who together have been working with artificial intelligence technology for years. The process to bring Chris back, though, painstaking from a technological standpoint.
There's no tool out there that you can just go and say, here's a voice file, here's a picture, please make it come to life, and this is what I wanted to say. So they're scrounging and using this tool and that tool and this tool and this script and this audio and this image and trying to mash it all together and make a Frankenstein of love.
Then to decide what the real Chris would say.
I have my own thoughts and feelings about how much time I wanted the sentence to be. If I forgive the shooter or not. I have very definitive opinions about that. But it was important not to make Chris say what I was feeling and to detach and let him speak, because he said things that would never come out of my mouth, but I know would come out of his.
In another life, we probably could have been friends. I believe in forgiveness and in God who forgives. I always have, and I still do.
That message, one that moved Judge Todd Lang.
I love that AI. Thank you for that. I feel that that was genuine, that his obvious forgiveness of Mr. Horcasitas reflects the character I heard about today.
Also moved was Chris's big brother, John, who, along with the rest of the family, Stacy chose not to tell about the AI video in order to get their genuine reaction.
There was something about seeing Chris and the man that I knew and the belief that I thought in my head that Chris would have forgiven this guy. But to see his face and to hear his voice say it, just waves of healing washed over my soul, because that was the man that I knew.
John commending his sister for bringing their
All right, and you can tell these people are acting, man. Okay, you can tell those emotions are not real. Okay, from his brother. All right, because you can best believe Esau can pay these people so much money, to push propaganda with his AI, the judge. Okay, so here it is. You have AI. Okay, here it is AI likeness of a man, who was put to death during road rage. Okay, now has a say so. Okay, in the court case. Okay, this is stupidity, man. The fact that he's dead, that's part of the case. That he can't be here to set his case, that should play a factor in the judge's decision. Okay, there's nothing that he needs to say. His spirit is in the spiritual realm because of an act of another man. Okay, so him coming back and Esau pushing these things as if they're genuine, as if these things are accurate, and you know how much wickedness that he can infuse into, all right, a regenerated AI character involved in the court case. How much wickedness he can do and input, because you guys remember AI. Esau controls the AI. Okay, we see these things, and you can have you in awe, but it's overhyped. Okay, this man is controlling these things, so he can control what's being said. Because remember, they said that they have to go draw data from here, pictures from here. They pretty much create a Frankenstein. Okay, it's very tacky what this devil is doing, but he knows how to package it in a well-structured way to where you thinking that this nigga is the greatest. Like he's doing a miracle. Okay. So how much wickedness can this man infuse if he can establish that he can bring back people of the dead to have a say so in matters of the living? Okay, this is madness, man. All right, and he's pushing these characters to sell it as if this is just something great, man. Okay, and the masses are going to eat it up, as the scriptures say. The simple believe it every word. All right, what's that? Proverbs 14 and 14 and 15, 14 and 12. But the brother can post that. Proverbs 14, how the simple believe it every word. All right, well, let's play this some more.
beloved baby brother back for a couple minutes.
And my sister did an exceptional job of detaching herself from her own opinions, her own desires, her own feelings on the matter, and put herself in Chris's shoes. What would Chris say if he were here? It was the beginning of empathy.
But Stacy says the process became easy once she focused on Chris.
He was the best one of us. What he believed was clear. What he believed was pure. And what he loved was for everyone. And that's the reason why this worked, is because his blanket of love.
Well, I'm going to go fishing now. Love you all. See you on the other side.
Incredible stuff there. Chris's killer, by the way, got nearly 13 years in prison. We have much more on this unique story at fox10phoenix.com.
So he was able to confront the person who shot him in this road rage incident. I mean, does this not remind people of Pet Sematary? I mean, that's really what I think of right off the bat, right? Remember Pet Sematary? They bury the cat in the ancient ritual burial ground, and the cat comes back. Of course, the cat's name is Church, but it's not really the cat. It's a demon who has the flesh of the cat, right? And then eventually in the story, of course, one of the parents loses a child in a tragic accident, buries that child in the pet cemetery, and he comes back as an evil version of the child. And to no one's surprise, all written, of course, by Stephen King, who is the master of predictive programming, along with guys like James Cameron, who continue to feed you this stuff and make you think that this is all artistic expression, when these people know exactly what's happening spiritually and what they're doing with artificial intelligence and bringing forth robots. And now we look at the world when Terminator 2, the movie, came out, and we suddenly have humanoid robots being sold for people to buy inside of their homes. Of course, we've seen the predictive programming with this exact story, right? Almost to a T. Black Mirror, which shows the most predictive programming out of any show out there, where they show you what's really happening with technology. Look no further than Black Mirror and all the videos I've done exposing Black Mirror. But does this look a little bit similar to that entire story that you heard?
Hello. My name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining us.
I know he's dead, but I can sign you up to something that helps. It will let you speak to him. And don't worry, you won't even have to do anything. I'll just assign. Shut up! You click the link and you talk to it. It mimics him and reads through all the things they've ever said online. The more it has, the more it's him.
So, how am I sounding?
You sound just like him.
This might sound a bit creepy. There's another level to this available. It's starting already. Don't put it under the microphone.
A brand new series of Charlie Brooker's Black Mirror.
Almost to a T, right? Now, you might also remember some of these other things, because it's time that we start waking people up to what they're really dealing with here with when it comes to artificial intelligence. That we're talking.
So let's go into some scriptures. All right. We'll probably play a little more of that. But let's go into some scriptures. All right, because what is this devil doing? All right, he's trying to imitate the Most High. All right, and he wants to have, power, in this realm and in the heavens. Okay, but he can't control the spirit. Matter of fact, real quick. All right, let's get this in Ecclesiastes. Okay, but he's pretending like he has power over the spirits. Those are not those people. Those are not the spirits of those people in these AI animations. Okay, this devil has just mastered how to duplicate these people's likeness and images. Okay, that's why he's so big on the data. That's why social media, they act like they're against social media. No, social media plays a major tool in them capturing the likeness, all right, of people, to where he can pull it off as if he's able, to he's able, all right, to have control, of the spirit. Like he's able to summon the spirit back into the earth. Okay, it will. Okay. This is Ecclesiastes 3:21. It said, "Who knoweth the spirit of the man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth?" Okay, so the spirit of man, once it leaves the body, goes upward, all right, into the spiritual realm. Okay, now there's on the left hand side, people are able to access things in the spiritual realm, but there's a limit. Okay, but this devil, he wants to transcend the limit, all right, that he has on the left hand, as if he's able to just summon whatever spirit he wants at will, and he thinks that he can do it through data and information, science, and it's a very tacky way of what the devil is doing. Now, let's go here. When you go to the book of Genesis, now you go to the book of Genesis, the 4th chapter. Okay. Verse 8, and this was after Cain's, all right, sacrifice was rejected. Okay, and what did he do? All right, this is Genesis 4:8. It says, "And Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not, am I my brother's keeper?" Verse 10, and he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood cried unto me from the ground. Okay, so the blood, all right, of Abel, he said it cried unto him from the ground. But what did that mean? It means that the Abel was in the spiritual realm crying against what Cain did. Okay, well, that spirit, the spirit of Abel didn't come back to the earth. Okay, it was in the heavens crying out. Okay, and the Lord put out a judgment based on, all right, that spirit crying out unto him. Okay, Cain was what? Verse 11. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. And this is why the curse, all right, the earth doesn't give forth its strength. That's a sentence from the ultimate judge, the Most High. You see, Esau wants to he wants to remove the Most High from all type of judgment, man, to where he's, all right, the top judge in existence, man. Okay? So the blood of me, the righteous blood of Abel was crying out, okay, to the Most High, which means the spirit of Abel was in the spiritual realm crying out to the Most High for what Cain did, okay, and the judgment came down from the Most High on Cain. Okay, verse 12, when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth, man. And as you see, Esau, a lot of places are barren. Okay, under the devil's rulership. Especially over there in our homeland, Jerusalem, which was supposed to be a plush place, is barren. Okay, even what's coming from the ground where he's able to grow, it doesn't have its strength. The things doesn't have the strength that it once had. Okay, the fruits, the vegetables, they don't have the strength that they once had. Okay, and this goes all the way back to the sentence that the Most High placed on this man, the judgment that the Most High placed on this man because of what he done to Abel. Okay, it says a fugitive. Okay, someone is on the run from a crime. All right, and the devil has been a fugitive in the earth. That's why he goes under all these different aliases, except his own as an Edomite. Okay, because original Greeks and Romans, they was Japhet. Okay, but now that's associated with Esau, Edom. Okay, Alexander and Julius Caesar. Okay, and the crew. All right, he's not even the original European, but he goes under these banners of being a European. Okay, now he's an American. You see, but ultimately he's an Edomite, and he's on the run. All right, for crimes. Okay, it says, "In a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth," man. That's why he just wanders through the earth, colonizes, set up shop. Okay, and there was a punishment. Okay, and you go here. Let's get this word cried out. Let's get this word crying real quick. So you go here. Let's get this word crying. Oh, come on now. I'm waiting on it to load. Oh, come on. Try to refresh it. Oh, boy. Let's see. All right, here we go. So you go. So I can put it back. All right, so let's go here to Genesis, the 4th chapter. All right, and go to verse 10. We're gonna get the word crieth in the Hebrew. All right, which is Taza'ak. All right, Taza'ak. In the Hebrew, it said to cry out, to cry for help. Okay, to cry in distress. All right, to make outcry, to clamor, to be summoned. Okay, to be summoned. And this devil, in his mind, he wants to tap into being able to summon spirits at will. Okay, he wants to have authority to bring spirits back from the spiritual realm. Okay, this man wants to undermine the Most High in every way. Now, Abel wasn't summoned, but there is an account, all right, where someone was summoned. When you go to the book of 1 Samuel, all right, 28, you know, and you have these witches and warlocks, they're able, you know, to do, you know, particular things, all right, but remember there's a limit, okay, and the Most High is over the left-hand side. Yahweh Shai is over everything on the left-hand side. Satan is under, all right, submission to Yahweh Shai, okay. Now you here to the book of 2 Samuel, okay, well, 1 Samuel chapter 28, all right, in verse 6 it says, and when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Then said Saul to his servant, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit in Endor. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, and he went, and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring him up whom I shall name unto thee. And the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest what Saul have done, how he had cut off those that have familiar spirits and wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die. Okay, so she like, look, she knows she was being baited in, you know, to see if she can do it to be, you know, to be a judge. Okay, so she was sketchy about this. Okay, and it says, and Saul swear to her by the Lord, saying, as the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Then said the woman, whom shall I bring unto thee? And he said, bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. And the king said unto her, be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw God, all right, ascended out of earth. And he said unto her, what form is he of? And he said, an old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stood with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and the Most High is departed from me and answered me no more, neither by prophets. So Saul couldn't get, okay, because the prophets are the medians on the right hand side, the go between, all right, the spiritual realm, okay, and the earth, okay, telling what the Lord, all right, requires in righteousness, man, and the judgment that the Lord is getting ready to bring, okay, the truth. Okay, on the left hand side, Esau, you know, he deals with the demons, the deception, okay, the wickedness. All right, but on the right hand side, you have the prophets, and the Lord wasn't dealing with Saul anymore. All right, so he had to go to the left hand side. Okay, you see, and deal with a median. It says, and answer me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams thereof. I have called thee that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Okay, so he's going to what? The left hand side for counsel to summon up Samuel. Okay, then said Samuel, wherefore then dost thou ask of me, saying, the Lord is departed from thee and is become thy enemy. Okay, and become thy enemy. So Samuel letting them know, look, the Lord is against you, man. Okay, so he summoned up Samuel just to get bad news. The fact that the Lord wasn't answering on the right hand side, that was the sign. But he wanted to dig into it, and there was just more bad news. Okay, and it says, and the Lord have done to him as he has spake. All right, for the Lord have rent the kingdom out of thy hand and given it to thy neighbor, even to David, because thou obeyest not the voice of the Lord. And it shows you that in the spiritual realm, things play out. All right, in the spiritual realm, then they play out in the earth. So before David was made king, okay, Samuel let him know, because why? These things are ordained in the spiritual realm, and then, all right, they play out in the physical. And this the devil, he wants to be able to tap into what's going to be on the left hand side, you know. But see what's happening, he's starting to get bad news. Okay, best believe Esau was summoning up these demons, all right, these familiar spirits, and he's getting bad news. He's not getting a good report. Okay, and it says, because thou obeyest not the voice of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai, nor executed his fierce wrath upon Amalek. Therefore hath the Lord done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines. And tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. The Lord also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. Okay, so he got the inside scoop of what was going to happen. All right, and he let them know, look, you're going to be where I am, showing you that all spirits, wicked or righteous, go to the spiritual realm. Okay, well, it says in the book of Job, all right, chapter 3. Okay, but there was an example of a spirit being summoned, and this is what the devil is trying to tap into and trying to perfect. Okay, all right. This is Job 3:17. It said, there, speaking of the spiritual realm, the wicked cease from trouble. All right. It means they gotta sit their ass down somewhere. Okay. It says, and there the weary be at rest. Okay. So no matter how hard of a life you live, you go to the spiritual realm, it's a rest. Okay. The wicked ain't no wicked causing chaos in the spiritual realm. That's why the scriptures say let it be done on earth as it is in heaven. Because wickedness is not off the chain in the spiritual realm, showing you that Satan, didn't break loose, with a third of the angels and did their own thing. No. Okay, everything is in complete order under Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Okay, and to show you that real quick, I think that's in the book of Kings. Let me see. Such. Let's see. I think it's in the book of Kings. Let me see. All right, so this is the book of First Kings. All right, and this is a council in the heavens. All right. Now, this is the prophet. Okay, and the Lord's gonna show him a glimpse of what goes on in the spiritual realm between angels on the left hand and angels on the right hand. Okay, this is First Kings 22:19. It says, and he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. Okay, so this is the evil spirits, okay, and the righteous spirits, the righteous angels, okay, the demons, okay, and they're all in complete order under the throne of the Heavenly Father. And the Lord Yahweh said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. So you have the spirits bidding, okay, on how they will persuade, all right, Ahab to meet his faith at Ramoth Gilead, because it's already, all right, predetermined that he's gonna die in this battle. Okay, now they're just having counsel of the house. Okay, this is the inner workings of the spiritual realm, and Esau wants to undermine it, man. Okay, it says, and there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. And the Lord said unto him, wherewith, or how are you going to do it? And he said, I will go forth and I will be a lion spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him and prevail, all right, and prevail also, go forth, all right, and do so. So the Lord put lion spirits on the prophets, okay, of Ahab, okay, so he set him up for failure, and these same spirits are lying to Esau, setting him up for failure, man. Okay, he's been encouraged to go forth with his plan on the left hand side, but he's been set up for failure on the left hand. It says, now therefore, behold, the Lord have put a lion spirit in the mouth of all thy prophets, and the Lord has spoken evil concerning thee. Okay, so Ahab was set up for failure, and he was put to death. Okay, the Lord set him up to be put to death, and Esau is being set up to be put to death. You get this in Job, all right, 12 and 16. Okay, there's a book of Job, chapter 12, in verse 16. It says, with him is strength and wisdom. All right, the deceived and the deceiver are his. Okay, with him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. Okay, so Esau, he thinks himself to be this great deceiver, but he's being deceived himself. The Most High has this man deceiving the masses while himself is being deceived, man. Okay, well, they call, hey, this is, chess, not checkers, man. Okay, and the Most High is in control of all the moves. All right, so going back into it, let's get this, because even, all right, when you go here, Revelation chapter 6 and 9, all right, it's the book of Revelation chapter 6 and verse 9. Okay, and it says, and when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High, and for the testimony which they held. Okay, so the martyrs, for the testimony of Yahweh Shema Shai, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, how long? This is happening in the spiritual realm. O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? So the spirits, all right, of those that are martyred, all right, in this time for the testimony of Yahweh Shema Shai, all right, they're going to be crying out to the Lord to judge, man. Like they're going to be crying out like what Esau Edom done. Like they killed me for your testimony, Lord. Like how long, are you going to avenge their blood? Okay, verse 9, it says, and white robes were given unto every one of them. They would let you know that they of that number. Okay, they solidified. Okay, they that's the victory. If we're martyrs, that's the victory. Okay, if we're martyrs, we have to be martyrs in this faith, man. That's the victory, man. That's the victory solidified, legacy solidified. Okay, and we'll be right back. And it's going to go into it says, and white robes were given unto every one of them. Matter of fact, I want to get the word robes. I know Elder Shaquat had looked it up. This word robes, right? Robes given to them. So this word in the Greek is
Strong's G 4749 stale.
stale. Okay, and you go into it in the Greek. What does it say? It says It says, specifically a loose outer garment for men extending to the feet, worn by kings, priests, and persons of rank. So those that are martyrs for Yahweh said they was crying out, but then white robes was given to them. Like, look, y'all good, y'all solidified. Okay, so you go into a white robes given, to those martyrs that's crying out. It goes into what? Worn by kings, priests, and persons of rank. Okay, legacy solidified, man. Okay, now it's just them waiting. When you go here, back into it, Revelation 6 and 11 says, and white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. So when that's showing that there's already predetermined amount, all right, predetermined number of those that's going to have to, die for the testimony of Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. And when that number is fulfilled, then vengeance is going to take place, man. Okay, that blood is going to be avenged in the earth. Okay, going here to Revelation 19 and 2. All right, his spirit do what it want. Revelation 19 and 2 said, for true and righteous are his judgments, for he have judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his servants at her hand, man. So that blood is going to be avenged. Okay, thus said the Lord. You see? So let's go back. I'm gonna jump around. Real quick. So let's go back. I want to jump to a few other points in this video. Let me see.
I guess it's
I was like, Russell, I'm so rich. He's like, you are? I was like, yes. I was like, you're rich. What do I do with all?
the catch-22, right? You can bring back grandma and grandpa, so you could talk about the one time that maybe you and grandma and grandpa had some s'mores out by the fireside one night, and you talked to grandma about, hey, you really had that pot roast you made every Thanksgiving. Oh, that was delicious, right? But on the flip side, they could also murder your kids, right? So I think the negatives outweigh the pros, right? Two experts on artificial intelligence see widely different outcomes from the revolutionary technology, a chance for immortality or doomsday. Or how about Amazon's Alexa could soon speak in a dead relative's voice, making some feel uneasy? Or even some of these stories that I'll play for you now, where parents are turning to artificial intelligence to bring their children back from the dead. Of course, some of these are tragic stories. Some of these are obviously government-created stories where a parent might lose a daughter in a tragic accident, and then these parents decide to use AI to bring the daughter's voice back so that they could see the daughter on the screen. Everything you saw in that court video, this has been years and years and years in the making, where they're normalizing this, and this is becoming the new norm, almost like they're doing with all the data that they have on us and building out digital twins. But if you haven't seen some of these clips, this is what they're doing. And this is not something that has anything to do with this computer type technology that you don't understand, that these people are smarter than you, that they're underneath the microscope and they got little wires and they're connecting them. This is spiritual. And everything that goes on in our world revolves through frequency and energy around us. And that's what witches do when they do these spells. They're using the energy of the earth. They're summoning spirits. They're doing these rituals that revolve around energy. They energy harvest. Well, what do you think this technology is running off of? Does anybody ever think about what this technology runs off of or energy harvesting? No, they don't. But this is literally witchcraft-like technology being used, and they want you to think when people like me say that we're like relics. Like, oh, that guy's out of his mind. He's talking about my iPhone, like it's some form of sorcery and witchcraft. Well, it might as well be a magic wand in a sense, right? You pick it up, you can ask it whatever questions you want. You have no idea how it works, and then it suddenly gives you answers. It's listening to you, it's monitoring you, it's tracking you, it's talking to you. In fact, sooner or later, it's going to become your best buddy. And then, of course, sooner or later, they're going to want you to merge with it, because that's what this is really about, the mixing of iron and clay. But this is how they're normalizing this stuff. They're playing on the heartstrings of people out there.
Now, he's right about, eventually, they're getting people to fall in love, all right, with this technology, all right, so it can be a seamless transaction for people to merge with the technology, all right, but the mixing of iron and clay, all right, he's speaking of Daniel, the 2nd chapter. That's not what they're speaking of. That's not speaking of transhumanism. Okay, that's talking about, a fractured, EU, okay, American NATO alliance, okay, where you will have some parts of it strong and some of it, weak, and some strong represents the iron and the weak represents the clay, okay. They seem strong, but they really not, thorough. So, he went off on that. Now, well, he's on point with they're gradually getting people, to the point to where it'd be seamless to merge them with the technology that they already love and worship so much. Okay.
Who have lost loved ones. They're putting stories out there like the one you heard about the guy who died in a road rage accident, who was able to come back from the dead to confront that person that shot him on the spot. And everybody said, that's really cool. That's great that he got to come back from the dead to talk to the guy that supposedly shot him in the street, right? I mean, what kind of a world are we getting to where people don't even believe that spirituality is real? Yet this is the stuff we're seeing around us. I mean, this is literally summoning spirits.
Resurrection. It's a growing industry in parts of the world, keeping the essence of a deceased loved one alive forever. We've seen versions of this here in the U.S. as parents of kids killed in school shootings have used this technology to give them new life and to speak out on issues like gun violence. But in tonight's Prime Focus, we went to Taiwan to introduce you to a new stage in what one creative executive there is calling the resurrection of his dead daughter. ABC's Britt Clennett has more from Taipei.
This is Tino Bao, a well-known music producer in Taiwan. But that's not why we're meeting with him today. We sit down to talk, and then he takes out his phone and starts messaging his daughter, Felicity. They speak every day, catching up about regular day-to-day things.
下午好，包小荣。
下午好，老爸。今天天气怎么样啊？
Like what the weather's like where they are.
天气还不错，凉凉的。你今天下午想吃什么呀？
Their plans for lunch.
She wants pizza.
Yes, flavors.
Only Felicity passed away 3 years ago. The 22-year-old died after a long battle with a rare blood disease. Tino and his wife understandably devastated in the face of this unthinkable loss. Tino channeled his grief by diving into the field of generative artificial intelligence while studying a PhD in AI too. And now in his hands is an AI resurrection of his late daughter, an interactive chatbot with her memories.
Is it very similar personality to your daughter?
Young, yeah.
The same?
From she voice, the speed, and the personality. Yeah.
The same.
Same.
Hello， 各位媒体朋友，老师好，我叫包容，很高兴能有机会认识您。
But Tino doesn't like the term resurrection.
Impossible resurrection. Impossible.
How do you describe it then?
Rebuilding. Yeah, just rebuilding. Replay.
The AI Felicity, or Baorong, her Chinese name, was painstakingly rebuilt over the course of a year. Tino collected notes from all Felicity's closest loved ones and her social media, compiling a memory bank to train the AI.
Do you think she'd be happy knowing that you went through her Instagram?
I don't think so. Yeah.
The father will be fathers.
I will be tell her, say, I use your phone. Okay. I want to know something, so I must use.
Do you think she would be okay with that?
Yeah.
And this is all based on social media or conversations she had.
Mm-hmm.
I know you care about me, but right now I really prefer ballet and figure skating. I'll find time to practice the piano again. Don't worry.
Okay.
Is this conversation with her mother?
Memory from to the mother.
So Felicity and her mum had a conversation about her practicing piano,
yes,
going to ballet, figure skating, and then you've taken that information and you've created a voice and put it in the memory bank to create the voice.
我叫包容。
And that voice you're hearing also had to be recreated. During her illness, Felicity lost the ability to speak. The only usable recording of her voice was this video she sent to her mum years earlier.
I'm walking to the gigantic library.
So as you can see, all right, this man has, created a talking idol, which the scriptures, used to bash idols for not having the ability to talk and move. But now he's able to make, through AI, idols talk and move because it's an idol. That's why you go here, okay, and people are pretty much worshiping the dead, idolizing the dead. Okay. This is Wisdom of Solomon 15:3 said, for to know thee is perfect righteousness. Yeah. To know thy power is the root of immortality. And this is what these devils don't push. All right. The fear of the Lord, to know the righteousness of Yahweh by Shema Shai. Okay. In their mind, they think through pure wickedness that they're going to be able to pull off immortality. Man, it's not going to happen. Okay. First of all right, you can't be immortal in wickedness. All right. Because you go into self-destruct mode. All right. Every path outside of Yahweh by Shema Shai leads to self-destruction. Some just faster than others, but they all lead to self-destruction, man. And you move outside the righteousness of Yahweh by Shema Shai. Okay? It says, yeah, to know thy power is the root of immortality, man. And this devil has no reverence for the power of the Most High. That's why he's always tempering into things that's way above his pay grade, way above his jurisdiction. He's trying to tap into the thing because he doesn't have a reverence for the power, okay, of Yahweh by Shema Shai. That's why the Lord is going to show him that power in a major way. Okay, he says, for neither did the mischievous invention of men deceive us. This is a mischievous invention of men that we're seeing, nor an image spotted with diverse colors. All right, the painter's fruitless, man. The painter's fruitless labor. And now, all right, instead of painters, okay, and carpenters is these computer programmers, these computer techs that are able to spawn, okay, a likeness or image of someone that's deceased. But there's no different from an idol maker. Now it's just this idol is able to speak and move, but it's still an idol. It's not real. Okay? It said the sight whereof enticeth fools to lust after it. All right. Well, you see this simple as, all right, Ammonite. Okay. Which a lot of people lust after it, man. A lot of people lust after this man's technology and promises, all right, that AI presents, man. And so they desire the form of a dead image that have no breath. Okay, they desire the form of a dead image that have no breath, man. And we just seen it. Okay, the guy that was summoned, for his court trial when he was killed. These people, they're desiring their daughter. He talked to this nigga every day. Okay, it's an idol. It's not real. Okay, and then it feeds off the input of the living. This man's AI depends on the input of the living. It's not an actual spirit. Okay, it depends on the living spirits to feed it information, okay, to operate, man. You see, but this devil, he's pulling it off as if he's just able to create a spirit out of nothing, man. You see? So, I think there's one more little piece at the end I want to go into. I think that's the point. I put this. I want to watch the rest of it, or watch the whole thing. But I'm just going to the last precept. All right, this is the book of let's put this. This is the book of Isaiah. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 47. All right, I'm gonna jump down. Okay, I started 8. Okay, it says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment in one day: the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and the great abundance of thine enchantments, man. And Esau, Edom is because the scriptures speak heavily against enchanters and sorcerers and those that have familiar spirit. All right, these are things punishable by death. Okay, and this devil, okay, he has a hell of a track record. He says he has a great abundance of thine enchantments, man. So there's a punishment that's going to come down from the spiritual realm. Since he wants to tap into the left hand and be all in the spiritual realm and try to, manipulate things, the Lord is going to bring that judgment from the spiritual realm. He's going to send Yahweh Shai from the spiritual realm, okay, to judge, okay, this devil for his wickedness, man. Okay, said, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt know, all right, thou shalt not know from whence it rises, because the devil, he prides himself about knowing the ups, because he has different insight on the left hand side. He has different insight of the happiness, man. Okay, but the Lord is cutting this devil off, just as Saul was cut off, man. And he trusts in his wickedness, like he operates his kingdom based on witchery, sorceries, and enchantments, man. Witchcraft, man. Okay, left hand knowledge. It's technology. He gets a lot of his insight on this technology from the left hand. Okay, it was one scientist, engineer. He said once you get technology on the micro level, then it becomes witchcraft. Like once you get into the micro technology, which is the C-hip is what? The micro C-hip, man. Okay? It's just small technology. He said, well, once you get technology on that level, he said you enter into witchcraft. I forgot which guy said it. I believe it's one of them devils. Okay? Let me see. If you pull up once. Micro technology. Yeah, it was one of them documentaries I was watching. And guy said. Let me see. Okay, let's go here. Let's get it real quick. It says, so this is in the AI overview. Okay. Let me go back to that. All right, so you go to the AI overview. We said the sentiment that advanced microtechnology can seem like witchcraft likely stems from the fact that the complex systems operating at microscopic scales can be difficult to comprehend even for experts. This lack of understanding can lead to a sense of awe or even disbelief, similar to how people might react to seemingly magical phenomena. Okay? And this is why you're seeing the reaction of the masses, to the devil's technology, man. Once you go microscopic, you enter into a level of witchcraft, man. Okay, and people are in awe. They worship, all right, the image, and part of the devil's image is this technology, man. To make idols talk. Okay, this is back in Isaiah 47:11 said, therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it rises, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. And this is what the devil is trying to do, stand with his enchantments, man. Okay, he thinks he's going to finesse the Most High with left hand enchantments and witchcraft. Okay, if so be, all right, if so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail, man. And that's the Most High making mockery of the devil. Okay, like look, if you able to stand with your enchantments, if you able to pull this off, man, you might can prevail. And this is the quest that these devils are on. Okay, it says verse 13, thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels, let not the astrologers, all right, let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Okay, so these devils are weary in their counsels, man. All right, and they're not getting the answers that they want. Okay, and if they are getting particular answers, they're being deceived. Okay, so these devils are scrambling right now, man. It says, behold, they shall be as stubble. The Lord is going to destroy all this, man, all this black magic and the dark arts and all the fire is going to destroy all this, man. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm it, nor fire to sit before it. They shall be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander everyone to his quarter, none shall save thee, man. These other nations, they're going to back away from America, more and more as this place is getting ready to be judged. Okay, they're going to wail because America is destroyed, because this was the cash cow. All right, you see, but they're going to witness America judged. Okay, so that's the point, you know. Just wanted to get into that, something I was reading, and something else too. I don't know if she's still on, Vanessa L. King. Keep, your comments, to just a salutation. You don't want to be too chatty on the comment board. It's a good thing that you, as a woman, that you listen, you're consistent, but keep you talking, to bare minimum. Okay. After salutation, let there be that. Don't jump on the comment board posting, your opinions. That ain't what this is for. Dealing with women, all right. The brothers post mainly, scriptures, all right, and they add to what's being said, okay. But this ain't the place for women to place, their opinions. Give you salutations, just listen and learn, all right. But that was the point. Lord will you brothers and you sisters edified. Till next time I say shalom. Kwame Yashala Baba Ball. Soon, shalom.